Hi, everyone. My name is Loida Rodriguez, Community Engagement and Partnerships Disaster Program Manager for the American Red Cross Indiana region. And today we'll talk a little bit about the American Red Cross, the services that we provide, and how you can be ready in the instance of a disaster. So let's get started. The mission of the American Red Cross is to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. So, how do we do this? Well, at the American Red Cross, we have 5 services. Those services are training services, biomedical services, disaster services, service to the armed forces, as well as international services. So let's key in on disaster cycle services. As I said, cycle, we look at the 3 aspects of prepare, respond, and recover. In respect to prepare, we have many different ways that you can prepare, such as downloading Red Cross phone applications, through our home fire campaign, as home fires are the #1 disaster that we see here in the United States. Through the home fire campaign, you can receive free smoke alarms that are installed for free by the American Red Cross, as well as hands-only CPR. These 20 to 30-minute sessions are non-certified, but there are sessions that teach you how to do compressions in case someone is having an emergency, as well as Be Red Cross Ready, which is what we'll get into here in just a moment. Prepare with Pedro, our program that's tailored for kindergarten to grades 2, on how do you teach young children in order to be able to also know what to do in case of an emergency. In Respond, we do a lot of work with our disaster action teams, which are volunteers that have been trained, that are 18 years and older, and that are able to help in an instance there's a home fire or other type of disaster. We also help with sheltering in respect to opening up a shelter if there is a large need for our communities that have been displaced due to a disaster. Mass care, as well as recover. In recovery, we have recovery caseworkers, and we also provide immediate and individual disaster care services, such as disaster health services, disaster spiritual care, and disaster mental health. And we also do a lot of referrals for internal and external support. As I mentioned, Be Red Cross Ready is one of our programs that we have in order to prepare our communities, and so to be able to help in instances where there are situations that can happen. So today we'll be talking about thunderstorms. Thunderstorms produce lightning and thunder, and they're capable of producing hail, dangerous wind gusts, tornadoes, heavy rain, and flash flooding. And all these situations can be very dangerous. So we have to understand, how do we prepare in advance if we know that there's a thunderstorm? So there are 2 very important alerts that you have to be ready for. There's watch and there's warning. So what is a watch? A watch is when it's possible. It's possible for a thunderstorm to occur. So what should we do, and what are the actions that we should take if this happens? We should be tuned for updates, but we should also be prepared to take shelter. Now, let's say it's a warning. How do we react in a warning? So a warning means that it is happening. This is imminent danger to life and property, so you should seek shelter immediately. Adhering to severe thunderstorm watches and warnings can save lives. So please be ready and understand what actions you should take in case you see these alerts. So how are we going to do this? By planning and preparation, by having kits ready. So enhance your emergency kits. In your emergency kits, you have food, you have water, a flashlight, but replenish those supplies to be ready in the instance that something could happen. But tailor your plan. Have a safe place to shelter. In this safe place, how are you going to get there? How much time is it going to take to travel if you need to, say, find the shelter? And last but not least, stay informed. Know your risk, listen for updates and special instructions. So, having an understanding of what is happening at that time and what could be the imminent alerts that could also come out of this. So, what do you do during a thunderstorm? You shelter in a sturdy building. Avoid running water and landlines. Unplug appliances and electronics to make sure that these appliances and electronics are not plugged in and that you have a way to know what's going on. So, using a phone, using a radio to know what are the systems of the storm that are coming through. And if you're in a vehicle, only vehicles with hard tops and sides are safe to stay in. If outside, avoid open spaces, high ground, isolated tall objects, and metal objects. So, what do we do after a thunderstorm? Check for injuries and property damage. Turn around and don't drown. So, there are many instances where there might be flooding in an area. As you see high water, turn around. Do not attempt to try to drive through these areas. Keep away from loose or downed power lines, as well as monitor local news and NOAA radio. You can also protect your home by keeping trees and bushes trimmed, installing lightning rods, making a list of items to bring indoors, and maintain your rain gutters. So these are all active approaches that you can take in order to protect your home. The American Red Cross Emergency app has features to help you before, during, and after disaster. Before, there are short guides to help you prepare for 13 hazards, help with making customized plans, games to practice critical preparedness skills, and during, alerts for hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, extreme heat, and more. Customized to fit your needs and choose between over 40 alerts issued by the National Weather Service. Free radar maps also help keep you up to date on storm and weather changes, and a hurricane tracker. You can also monitor the air quality in your location. After disaster, if a disaster has impacted your location, you can easily find open Red Cross shelters and services available near you. The app is available on iOS, so for Apple as well as Android. Search American Red Cross in your App Store, as well as go on to YouTube where you can find a short video available on how to use